We made it. Another Tisha Talks Live is coming up. And if you are tuning in off of LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, hello and welcome to the show. If you've never been to the show, you are in for a treat. This is actually the last one of 2023 as I'm taking the next couple of weeks off. We'll resume back in the early part of January. But if you've never been to the show, I love interviewing cool people around the world. And I've gotten to interview authors and just some really cool people that I admire, especially on LinkedIn. And this guy is no exception. This is Chason Forehand. He's joining us and he's out of New York, super cold New York. And he'll be coming in just a minute. But before we get started, want to give a big shout out to my sponsor. This is Gateway Bank. They're a community bank out here in Arizona and are getting ready to open up their second location. So shout out to James Christensen and his team doing a phenomenal job. And of course, today we're going to be talking about how to create change in your community. And I think this is why Chason and I get along so well, is I have two events coming up, one happening right now, Connecting Through Community. We are teaming up with the American Red Cross. So happy. We had 26 spots filled today for the American Red Cross blood drive that we're doing through my real estate brokerage, which just warms my heart because that's something that's absolutely needed right now. And then coming up tomorrow, it is Wreaths Across America. So if you haven't heard about this, this is a whole national movement. We are working with the Exchange Club of Chandler, placing wreaths on veterans' gravesites just to remember, honor, and teach. So kids can also be involved in this event. And that's going on at 8 a.m. in the morning on Chandler. So connect with me if you want to learn more information about that. But love those types of service projects. And right now during the holiday season, we can all be doing some service. So, all right. So before we get started, you know how I like to do this. We like to do a little bit of a dance party and then we'll bring it back with our special guest. So sit tight, do a little dance, and I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. I think I caught you dancing. I know I saw Chason dancing in the background. Chason, doing this. And I want to say hi to Vanessa Black. I see you there, girl, on Facebook. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right. So welcome to the stage, Mr. Chason Forehand out of cold New York. Thank you so much for being here, Chason. I know that the weather is not so warm like it is here in Arizona, but I appreciate you being on the show today and spending your morning, your afternoon with us. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's good to be here. And yeah, I tell you what, I feel like I am really not doing my podcast well. After being on this, I am like, man, this is really set up. Like, I love it. I love it. You're knocking it out of the park. So, you know, I follow you on all your stuff that you do, but I mean, it's fantastic. So,
you know, I used to do a podcast before, Chason, and I really do love live streaming so much more because it's not as much effort, but it still has a lot of the same, the same impact of bringing on guests and it just being so authentic and real that like things happen, right? And it's like, this is life. You just deal and you roll with the punches and you go. But I love being able to have people on from all over the world and just have this connection and this communication with them and highlight what they're doing. So thank you. I know we have some comments coming through as well. So Vanessa Black saying, oh, you're awesome, Tisha, sending you mucho amor. And for anyone watching, she's even better in person. So
nice.
Yes. Yeah, so great. She's actually one of my coaches from Florida. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her here when she was here in Arizona, as well as in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just happened to be in Dallas at the same time. Andrew joining us. He is in Canada. Hey, friend. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. And Royce Blake, who's here out in Arizona, all you need now is a shelf. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get the show started. So Chason is the founder of HR chason4u.org out in New York, although we're talking about him making a move, hopefully to Arizona sometime soon. And today we're going to be talking about how to create change in your community. And I love this topic. As I shared, Chason, I'm like, I saved the best for last.
Yes.
Because I love community. As you saw, community
Absolutely.
is something that I love to do. I love to bring it together. And it's so funny because I get a lot of friends who comment, they're like, how do you do all that stuff? Like,
yeah.
how? And
we were talking about that before you started recording.
Yeah. Like, how is it that you do all these things and you're always doing this for the community? And like I was mentioning earlier, 2 events back to back, you know, the blood drive, and then also with the Wreaths Across America.
I love the wreaths. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I love that. I think December 16th is actually, it's kind of like their national holiday, if you will, like it's going across all of America. Like cemeteries are doing this all across America. And
that's incredible.
Yeah. So I'm bringing my little, you know, pocket of volunteers, but when we show up tomorrow, there's going to be several people doing this with us. So it's a great community builder, networker too. And but I look at it and I'm like, how do I do it? Well, because I want to do it. I have a passion for doing it. I make time to do it. And we're talking about, you make time for the things that are important to you.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel like work. It's just like you do it because you want to. So yeah, tell me like how you got involved with your company and this nonprofit, and what are you looking forward to heading into this new year?
There's a lot there. There's a lot there. But I mean, just a short version. I will say that I had been in HR by accident because I was a culinary guy that fell into HR because I was friendly and I like to train people and I just like people in general. So I was the guy that was made to hire and correct and train and deal with staffing when restaurateurs and owners and head chefs did not want to do that. And I learned what that meant beyond those come to Jesus meetings by the dumpster, you know, back in the 80s, you know. So, you know, what was it that really HR stood for, and what does it mean to be a people leader and to care about other people, and what does DEI even mean? So learning about those things as I started to grow, and then creating my own company on the side, and then eventually dropping out of corporate America to do that full time. And I did that right before the pandemic. So I did not have that crystal ball to say this is what was going to happen, but we were doing a lot of work with nonprofits from 2019 to present, especially doing some pro bono work for those nonprofits and B Corp. So now my HR company only works for social good entities. And it created, as I saw some of the things that were troubling me about nonprofits and about the workforce and what was happening since the pandemic, I realized, you know, there's 1/3 of America that makes below a living wage, and so fix that. And I think it starts with leaders and starts with creating an environment where we teach leaders how to do better. So that's where HR4U.org started. And we started last year, and at the end of last year, really got our 501c3, went through Giving Tuesday, and now we've just kind of been running this whole last year. But as we talked before the session started, you know, you learn to take a couple steps forward, and you have to take a step back sometimes to review and make sure you're on mission point. And that's what we've done this last quarter and the beginning of this next year. Instead of being so focused on, you know, give to us, we've talked about giving to other nonprofits all during the month of November. Instead of putting out things for us, we've put out things about other nonprofits that are doing great work, to talk about giving and what that really means. What does it mean to give? What does that act look like? And how do you give of your time and your resources? And how do you develop things within a community? So I love that we're on this and we're talking about this, because the things that excite me for 2024 are really expanding and honing and crafting not only our own mission, vision, and purpose, but helping others to do the same. Because I think there's a real need in the world right now to spread kindness and joy. I think there's a real need for us to step up as human beings and give back. And so that's, if I can affect one human being, then I feel good. I feel like we've done some good things. So
Yeah, it's I think people get into this like, I'm only one person. Like, what can I achieve? What can I honestly do if I'm just one person? And we let it stop right there, and we don't move forward. And I want to ask you, like, can a person make a difference? Do you feel like that? Because I know you are. I know you absolutely are. And just having that in your head. And Royce, I'm going to talk about Royce here. Royce used to run radio here in Arizona, and I love what he says all the time about, my audience is one person. It's not everybody.
yeah,
It's one person. And I always feel like saying that to people. If you can positively impact one person, I think you've done what you set out to do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're founded on that. Everybody else in our space that is going to try to change living wage in the United States is approaching this very differently than we are. We are the only ones that are going from a grassroots point of view. So we start out with, our first program is gather people together that believe in change and believe that one human being can create change. One leader can create the change within their organization, within their own team, within their own community. And what does that rippling effect look like?
Right.
So that's the base core of what we are, is a grassroots organization of leaders, entrepreneurs, authors, podcasters, people that just stand up and say, you know what, it's time for change. And that is, man, that's the heart and soul of what we do. So I absolutely believe that one human being can make a difference, because I watch it every day. We started, when we did our website, when I created our website in the end of July of 2022, we had 8 partners. We have 75 partners now and growing. And they're all people that care about other people and put people first and believe in pay equity and living wage and teach it and live it and breathe it. I can't ask for more than that. I mean, that's incredible to me. That expanse and how many people that collectively we're able to get to. We're reaching, our goal this year was to reach over 600,000 people, and we've reached over 500,000 people through our collective resources. So I think that's, for a startup nonprofit to just have the focus that we want to create change one person at a time. That is exactly what I believe in. So you hit it right on the head. You absolutely can create a change.
I'm just gonna applaud you, Chason.
Hey!
Yeah.
We're gonna do some more dancing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance in my chair right here.
Hey, let's do some dancing in your chair. Yeah. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, just that you said you just started this not too long ago, and you've had this big goal in your mind, and you're there, like you're already there, and you've had all of these partners. And I think just with what you're saying, you're starting to see that other people value this and want to see that change happen.
Yeah.
And it's just like we say, like, it takes one person, and then everybody else wants to be a part of that change, and you're doing it, like you're seeing it happen right before your eyes. So
yeah,
I'm proud of you.
It is a group effort. It is not Chason Forehand. It is a group of talented people that believe in change, and people like yourself that allow us to tell our tale, to say what we're doing. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I want to say too is that, you were telling me about this in the green room, that you've really said, I want to work with companies who produce like social goods. Like, I want to work with these nonprofits. So you've really niched down of, this is who I want to serve. It's not the masses. It's not whoever has the deepest pocketbooks. Like, it's like, we want to work with these types of organizations. So that's another thing that I want to say. I love that you've stayed so focused on your mission. in helping these organizations?
Well, thank you. That, I mean, for my own HR company, which is tiny, but my own HR company is project based, HR consultations,
Mhm.
and literally, you know, we just got to a place where we saw people wanted to box check through especially DEI programs and
Yeah.
initiatives. And I'm not going to sign my name onto that. And I'm not going to sign my company name onto that. We want to create actual actionable change.
Mhm.
And that's the same with the nonprofit. We want to create actionable change. Let's not put more rhetoric out in the world.
Right.
Let's not create policies and procedures that people are just not going to follow. Let's talk about real change. And that
Mhm.
comes from inside and recognizing that change needs to happen. So
Mhm.
that's very personal. That's very one-on-one. And it takes more time and more intentionality, but it certainly is more effective in the long run for changing a mentality and a way of life. So that's what I stake both those companies, the nonprofit and the HR company, on,
Mhm.
is let's be intentional and authentic and genuine in what we do, and how do we make that happen each day and get a little bit better each day. So
Yeah, and I want to connect two people. So you and Andrew. Andrew is up in Canada, as I mentioned. He actually has an HR podcast.
yay,
Yay! So I think that that's a connection I'd like to make between the two of you as well,
very
because you
cool.
probably have a lot of things in common. And I know he's looking for guests even in the new year to try and share their messages out there. So
Very cool.
Andrew, I'm coming for you and introducing you to Chason, because that's just my connector personality of like, hey,
I
I know
love it.
people that need to meet and they have a lot in common. So
I
just
love it.
know that you two are getting connected.
Cool.
All right. So, question for you too, Chase. And we've talked about, can one person make a difference? Well, I would ask you, like, how does that person get started? What are some tips that you would say of, okay, you've identified that there has to be this change happening. Now what? Because I think that a lot of people get stuck in the implementation part of things where it sounds good, I say it, and then nothing. And Andrew's saying, love it. So,
Yeah,
yay. So, just so you guys know, we'll be connecting you guys offline.
cool. Yeah, I think there's that between the intentionality of, hey, I really want to do this, to what do I do with my hands? This is a Ricky Bobby moment. It's like, I don't know what to do with my. I literally think that it comes down to doing your research and diving in. So cutting through the fear, getting into the uncomfortable things, and I'm talking to myself here too, because this last year, we talked about two things or three things really that I focused on, is getting back to why. Why are we doing this? So we can hone in our vision, our mission, our purpose, really hone in our
Right.
branding message. Two, be okay with saying no, and,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding your limitations. And three, diving into the yeses, diving into those uncomfortable things and saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. I am passionate about this. I want to help. I want to be part of it. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to do, and then I'm going to work it out as we go. And I think that really is putting intentionality into motion, is that where people stop is that because they don't know what to do, they just don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So they stop right there at the doorway instead of just opening up the door and walking through. It may not look right at first. It may be uncomfortable at first. It may be you turn left and you need to turn right. Okay, well, you'll course correct.
Yeah.
But the real thing is that you're creating action and you're helping.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these things talking about how there's less volunteers now in nonprofits and NGOs, et cetera, than there has ever been. And there's a decline because of everything that's going on in the world. And I just want to say that, I want to encourage you, whatever strikes you, and you're passionate about, go out and do that. Help others, be kind, do good in the world, because
Mm-hmm.
we need you.
Yeah. That's good. I like what Royce said here, his comment, getting people behind a cause will bond your team far deeper than a company goal.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good point, Royce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even when we were talking about my social connect events, even, in the green room, and I always had a nonprofit supported throughout all of those. And I always say that if you're planning an event, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to piggyback and to invite a nonprofit to also be there so that you can support and raise awareness for them. A lot of these nonprofits, especially here in Arizona, are not backed by big dollars.
Yeah.
They're going out, it's very grassroots. They're having to fundraise, and they really just need the support of the community to know who they are. Yeah.
I know, I did some work for St. Mary's in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And part of their culinary program where they were actually teaching culinary skills to people that have been incarcerated that were struggling.
Yeah.
And, that area, even around where St. Mary's is, and the population that they're serving, so need help and so need that pickup. And so just giving a piggyback to a nonprofit by shouting out what they're doing is huge. And I can tell you that as a nonprofit founder, being on a show like this, having people that are willing to take the time to shout out to others about what you're doing is incredibly helpful, and is really appreciated. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I said save the best for last. Had to have you on the show. So timely, especially during this holiday season. Yeah. No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So, Chason, I know you have a lot of things coming up, and you talked about this kitchen, the transformation kitchen. I want to learn a little bit more about that. So, what's your big goal for this transformation kitchen coming up in the new year?
I have worked for a couple of different organizations that had something similar to this. We're kind of doing a 2.0, 3.0 version. And the idea is that we're creating a production kitchen that serves after school programs, shelters, etc., that will eventually open for lunch. So it's a physical place, but it teaches culinary skills and life skills to people that traditionally are just overlooked by the system.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be people that have been formerly incarcerated. It could be veterans. It could be people at the top of the, in the autism spectrum or that have disabilities. There's so many different groups beyond just people of color, but including people of color and people that have been in communities that are underserved, that need help and need ability to make a living wage. So this production kitchen doesn't just teach these skills and give people the chance to earn or their managers serve safe certification and get great skills. They also get a living wage job. Mm-hmm. So they don't pay for any of this program, and they come out either working for the program itself or connecting with one of our partners in the culinary field that's agreed to pay them a living wage. Mm-hmm. And we're building this up. We're fundraising for it now and writing grants and looking to hopefully by the end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter of next year, God bless, if it happens sooner, I'll be like, yes, but we are looking for that to happen. There's a lot of things that have to go into place. There's a lot of different cogs and a lot of things that are going on, but we're 45 minutes from the CIA. So the Culinary Institute of America is just right up the road from me. So we're looking to get all the pieces in place and get by the end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, a physical kitchen up and running and be training people. And that's our big program, our biggest goal for 2024.
I love that. And it's very, very needed for sure. I want to say hi to Maruf, looks like he's joining us off your YouTube channel. So
yes,
that should be hi there. Hi, good to see you. And lots of hearts, lots of thumbs up. Love that. I was just talking to a gentleman today about just even in our own community here in Arizona and how, sometimes, especially with the holidays coming up, that a lot of these students, these kids don't have food,
Yep.
daily. They don't have lunches and breakfasts and so forth. So I know as a community, we are getting names from one of the principals of just like, here are the families that really need help this holiday season, so that we can go and get all of the supplies and deliver them to the schools and such. So again, little things, big
Yep.
change, right? Little things, big
Absolutely.
change. Yeah, it's good.
No,
But I
that's
love
huge.
I love this idea of this transformation kitchen and what it's doing. And like you said, it's not just a kitchen. It's teaching life skills. They're able to make this living wage. They're bettering their lives. So cool. So you need
Wow.
to keep us up to date on all of that's coming up,
Absolutely.
Chason.
Absolutely. We want to put one of these in like every state and every country. So yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Okay, Chason. So tell us how can people get in touch with you? How can they support what you're doing? And any last minute thoughts you want to share?
Well, I appreciate being on the show. I really appreciate your enthusiasm and love what you do. At hrforyou.org, you can find a bunch of information about us. You can follow me on social media. And I'm very open, very receptive to meeting. I do a ton of coffee chats, and I am. I'm very accessible. So you can find me, and I will connect you with one of our partners, and we're happy to get you situated. If you would like to become a partner, we can talk to you about what that means and what that is. We also have volunteers, and we would love for you to volunteer in some space if this resonates with you. And then also funding, you can donate to what we're doing. We are registered in 12 states, and we'll register in your state if we're not registered, I promise. So thank you so much for having me on the show, and thank you for shouting out what we're doing. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Chason, okay, so we're heading into the holiday season. What are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to spending time with family, seeing some of the family members that are, from outside the New York area that are coming in, that have been at school or whatever. So seeing nieces and nephews and cousins and, aunts and all of that. New York is home. And so it's great to do that. And yeah, I really, family is big with me, and it's really cool to see those people during this time period. I also have some dear friends in this area, or that'll be traveling in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And we just came back from Colorado, seeing some people that we hadn't seen in years that have been family friends. And so, yeah, I think this time for me is really about connecting.
Mm-hmm.
So
I saw your pictures from Colorado with Castle Rock. You're like, see this
yes.
weird rock? That's Castle Rock.
Yeah, that weird rock up there. That's what Castle Rock.
That's what it's named for.
That's it. That's right there.
All right, Chason. So one last question I have for you, and I know that you are looking for people to support you. You're looking for all sorts of things, which I love. But if people who are listening, tuning into this live, I know Monica's joining us off of Facebook, and Royce here says, you're doing fine work, Chason. I love that.
Royce.
So who could we send your way? We come across people, we should be like, you need to meet Chason. This is a man doing some amazing things. Because it's all about, honestly, I've seen some incredible things happen just from hosting this live, and people connecting in the comments and people connecting offline and supporting each other. Like even at my social connects, like my panelists are doing business after the fact because I had them on the panel at the same time. I'm like, this is what it's about. It's about your community.
Absolutely.
And today we're talking about community. So tell me, like, if I'm coming across people and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the person you need to meet. You need to meet Chason.
All right.
Yeah. So tell us, like, who's ideal person that you're like, if you come across this person, I want to meet them.
Well, first I want to say this. If there is any way that I can help you or someone else, please know that I am fully up for discussing that and seeing if I can do it. If there's a way for me to help you in any capacity, then I will do that. So I think it's important to give.
Mhm.
The other piece of that is, and thank you for the question, I would say anybody that resonates with pay equity, living wage, food insecurity,
Mm.
and eliminating homelessness, because those are the things that our programs affect. Because when you pay someone, when you pay your team a living wage, you are helping them and their community. It ripples much further than just your team. It
Mhm.
affects families, it affects communities. It is huge, the socioeconomic impact it has. And the ROI to your company is it's tremendous.
Mhm.
Smarter people than this scarred up old hockey guy have said it in MIT and Forbes and other and Harvard Business Review. It is incredible. So if any of these things resonate with you, then send them my way. If there's somebody that is a philanthropist or that gives to organizations like this that you know of, send them my way. I'm
Mm.
happy to give them all of our information and show them what we're doing.
I love it. Good. Well, I know everybody listening. We know some folks in our network that could be great fit for talking to Chason. So make sure that you reach out to him. He is on LinkedIn. That's how we
That's it.
connected. And of course, he's got a YouTube channel as well and his website. So make sure you connect with Chason. Good guy, doing some good things in the world. Can't wait to have him come back to Arizona so we can hang.
Yes.
And I just want to wish all of you a happy holidays.
Happy
And
holidays.
yeah, we'll be
Absolutely.
back in the new year. Christian Beals is coming and joining me on January 5th. We're going to be talking about alignment. And I love that. I love that word.
Yes.
It's actually my word of the year for this year. So make sure that you tune back in to Tisha Talks Live next year. And Chason, thanks so much for being my very special guest, my special friend, and being here with me today as we wrap up this holiday season. We wrap up this year. So thank you so much, everybody, for being on with us live or catching us on the replay. And we'll catch up with you soon.
Yes.
All right, be safe, be happy, and be well. Bye, everyone.